Hey, what's going on, you guys? Happy 2019. I know we've got a fair start in 2019 now. We're halfway through the month, and I thought, what better time than to talk about this topic? So hold on to your butts. That's literally, well, hopefully the worst word I'm going to say because this is a family show. It's a family channel. But we're going to talk about our core principles tonight because, hey, Overland Bound has grown really rapidly. A lot of folks, a lot of new folks on the channel don't know how we started and what we stand for as a community, what we're all about. So we're going to talk about that thing. We're going to talk about that tonight. There are 10 core principles of Overland Bound. So that's what we're going to step through. But it's not only for new folks who don't know what we're all about, but it's also for existing members as well. And it's a nice refresher. We're growing so quickly that it's a good thing to review from time to time, and we're going to make it interesting for you tonight. At least that's the plan. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to go through where it all started and what the core principles are, but I will be watching the chat channel. So if you have a specific question, put question in big brackets, and then I'll try and get to it, but mostly I'm going to be going through our core principles. All right. Okay. So Overland Bound, many folks don't know, it started in 2010. That's quite a long time ago. I started a website, a blog, and then we grew really quickly, which really surprised Corey and I, but it's wonderful. I think a lot of people agreed with the message. And basically, adventure is necessary. So what are the stakes for you personally if you are watching this? Here are the stakes. Adventure in your life. It is absolutely necessary. Our flavor includes vehicles and outfitting your rig to go on adventures. And you need that in your life. Without adventure, you get a little bit stir crazy. You don't know how much it affects you, but it affects you in the most fundamental way. You get a little bit unbalanced unless you are finding that connection with nature and the great outdoors. And that's what we are all about. But more will come to light as we go through these core principles. So stick around. We'll make it fun, and we'll go through them. We'll go through all 10 one at a time. And I wrote them down here. If you see me glancing, I wrote them down here because sometimes I get passionate and I start talking. I forget where I'm at. So now I can check off my list. But the number one thing, overlanding is vehicle dependent travel. And we say that's it. So hold on. Visual aid for people scanning through number one. Is that it is vehicle dependent travel. Overlanding is vehicle dependent travel, and that's it. Why do we say that's it? Because you can get into the nuances of overlanding, and once you do that, you can say a lot of accurate things about overlanding. Some people say it is the journey, not the destination. Well, sometimes for me, it's the destination. Does that mean I'm not overlanding? Or people will say to remote destinations. Well, maybe, but maybe you're going to Joshua Tree, or maybe you're going to the Grand Canyon, or maybe you're going someplace else that is not all that remote, but still an epic adventure, even if you're off grid for a few days. How remote is it? So our point about overlanding being vehicle dependent travel is that once you get into the nuances, you kind of start getting, you can get into like different niches of overlanding, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if one person's doing this and another person's doing that, it's not overlanding. And overlanding really is kind of the mindset. It's like okay, bad analogy time, but it's like a fly fisherman, right? Who is only fly fishing on the weekends, or maybe they have one epic trip a year, but the rest of the time they're thinking about it or they're planning for it. And so that they're still fly fishermen. So an overlander is an overlander. And the way we define it is vehicle dependent travel. We're going to show you, our community is going to show you how to outfit your rig safely to go on the adventures you want to go on. And it's going to include a whole bunch of different things. Now, I want to mention something. This is for folks who are just learning about Overland Bound and for folks who are current Overland Bound members. Our core principles this here. You may see this on vehicles when you're out and about. And if you ever would have told me in 2010 that I could say that you might see this on vehicles that are out and about, I couldn't imagine, right? I mean, now we're approaching 17,000 members worldwide. I couldn't imagine that. But here we are. And I think our message really has resonated with folks. And so you might see that symbol, that emblem, that vehicle, that metal emblem on Overland rigs when you're out and about. And the important thing is it stands for something. And so when you see that, what we're talking about tonight is, what Overland Bound members stand for. And naturally, what's going to come up is what we don't stand for, right? So it's not just a piece of metal. It actually represents our core principles. So Overland Bound members, please, review our core principles, and new folks, this is what we're all about. If it's not what you're all about, maybe we don't get along. I don't know. Overland Bound stands for the core principles. That's what the emblem stands for. That's what we're going through tonight. The second one, number two, is Overlanding is for everyone. One of the reasons I started Overland Bound back in 2010 was, after I went through this incredibly dark period in my life that I won't go into tonight. We'll talk about it around a campfire sometime. We'll do that. And I escaped back to the great outdoors. It's how I grew up. Backwoods country, bumpkin, hometown, 360 people. So I went back to the outdoors after sort of stepping away from it for many, many years, and was like, wow, okay, so more people need to know how to do this and find that connection. And I went out to other websites and other, communities, other expedition websites and communities. And what I found was that they weren't necessarily all that friendly. And the information that was provided, it wasn't rocket science. It was common wisdom for folks who have been outdoors and who grew up in four-wheel drive vehicles and being safe, and sort of common wisdom. But they were treating it as if it were the information of the ages, right? And so sort of hoarding the information and being not so free with it. And it was kind of not a real friendly environment, sort a little bit, trying to define Overlander. Are you a real Overlander? That kind of thing. And Overland Bound, we don't stand for that. And so core principle number 2 is Overlanding is for everyone. And the reason it's for everyone is because adventure is necessary. It's a requirement of living. When you get into the daily grind and you lack adventure, that's when things go a little bit haywire. So number 2 is Overlanding is for everyone. Number 3, it doesn't matter what you drive. Okay, let's be real clear about this, because this core principle, above all others, has caused ruckus. People are like, absolutely. It doesn't matter what you drive. What we mean is it doesn't matter if you drive a Toyota, a Jeep, a Land Rover, a Subaru. That doesn't matter. We are not a vehicle-specific organization. Subarus, welcome. Mitsubishi, welcome. Jeep, welcome. Toyota, welcome. And you will find in our community all of them. We have a soft spot in our heart for what we call the full-size rigs, the Dodge, the F trucks, Ford. All make and models are welcome. And the reason for that is because we're not going to get into this truck is better than that truck or this vehicle is better than that vehicle. Now, it absolutely does matter what you do with that vehicle. So when we say it doesn't matter what you drive, we do not mean drive any old vehicle anywhere. And again, here we're back to common sense again, right? No, if your vehicle does not have torque, you're not going to go on a trail or off-grid in an area that is going to require torque to get over an obstacle. So that plays into one of our other core principles. But number 3 is, did I do this? Number three is it doesn't matter what you drive. All makes and models are welcome. Okay, and number four, connection with nature is paramount. I'm going to go over that one pretty quickly. A connection to nature is paramount. What we mean by that is that without it, you're really not whole. And the way I felt that was by growing up in the woods. By my dad took us, backpacking all the time. He was a forest ranger. My family also had a logging company in Mendocino County, and like I said, backwoods country bumpkin, grew up on the river. So I spent my childhood outdoors, and then stepped away from it. And only when I went back to it, almost involuntarily, did I really feel the necessity for that connection with the great outdoors. Just think about it. Common sense. Things are real. You can't make a mistake. You have to be aware of your environment when you do overcome obstacles, because out in the great outdoors, obstacles happen every single day. The unexpected happens every single day. And you constantly overcome those obstacles. You work together as a team. You work together with other people. All of that stuff happens when you're off the grid, having an adventure, having that connection with the great outdoors. And all of that stuff raises your confidence. It gives you, a real perspective on what's important and what's not important. So a connection with nature is absolutely paramount. Okay, now you're probably wondering, what is Overland Bound's core principle number 4? You're probably wondering what number 4 is. So that was number 4. We have overlanding is vehicle-dependent travel. Overlanding is for everyone. It doesn't matter what you drive, and a connection with nature is paramount. So number 5 is something that is really important, and that is leave it better than you found it. Right now, we are in the midst of a borderline national crisis with the national park workers not at their posts, and you leave it better than you found it. BLM land, public land, all of the land available in the U.S. And around the world, other countries in Australia and the UK, we all face this issue. When you go out into the great outdoors, you go off grid, you leave it better than you found it. Does that mean you dust your tire tracks? No, it doesn't mean that. But you shouldn't be driving anywhere that is not designated for your vehicle. And if you do go someplace, you should, if you can, clean up after other people. If you find that it has been desecrated in some way, maybe there's trash out there. Overland Bound members leave it better than we found it. And by doing so, we become a force for good, and collectively as a community, we improve the environment for the better. Real quick, in 2018, we worked together with local groups up at the Chappie Shasta OHV area to help reopen 58,000 acres of closed land that was devastated by the wildfires up there. We went up there, we did a bunch of maintenance, and that land was reopened. We also have the Trail Guardian program on our website, and you do not have to be an Overland Bound member. You can go to our website. If you know of a place that has trash or needs some maintenance, you can create an event and invite Overland Bound members to that site to clean it up. And together, we're a workforce for any region, because we are a global organization, and as our numbers grow, we have more of a workforce. And so anybody, members or non-members, can create a Trail Guardian event and say, hey, here's a spot, it needs some cleanup, it needs some maintenance, let's all come together and clean up this spot. So number 5 is leave it better than you found it. All right, we all have those truck rucks on the back of our rig. It's for holding trash. Pick up when you go out, only stay on designated trails, and be aware of in the U.S. and California, the motor vehicle use maps that are available. Know where you can drive and where you cannot. Okay. Number 6, be prepared. Okay. So along with it doesn't matter what you drive, be prepared. And I already mentioned, when you go off grid, when you are off-road and disconnected, things happen fast. And if you're not prepared, it can be with unfortunate and devastating results. Just a series of poor choices can be tragic. So we say you need to be prepared. You need to do your due diligence before you go to an area. You need to know about it. You need to understand your vehicle. You need to prepare yourself for doing what it is that you're about to do. Know if the roads go all the way through. What happens if you're in the Sierras and there's a snowstorm? What is the closest direction out? Comms. Are you going to be off grid? Do you need satellite comms if you're going to be completely disconnected? You know, what kind of communications do you need? And that's what the community is for. We have Trail Guardian and we have Rally Point events. We have Rally Point events of three categories that our members put together. One, there are meetups, so you can look at other people's rigs and see how they've solved problems. Two, there is a trip, so people plan trips within the community. And three, training events. We have training events where you can, learn various skills with comms, mapping, how to repair, do basic repairs, trail repair, recovery, and things of that nature. So be prepared when you go into an area. You want to have that connection with the great outdoors, and you want everybody to come back safe, right? And that goes along with the vehicle. Don't ask your vehicle to do something it's not prepared to do, all right? So number 6 is be prepared. Number 7 might seem a little odd, but again, it goes back to the beginning of Overland Bound. No barriers to information. Wait. We went through 6. Now we're 7. All right. So number 7, no barriers to information. And if you go over to Overland Bound, you're going to see a series of articles that are free to the public, that are open to the public. All of our content is open to the public. And you go to the forums, and not only, just about knocked over my microphone, not only are the forums free, but there's no ads anywhere. And it seems like a small thing, but it's just an example of walking the walk, don't talk about it, be about it. So no barriers to information. There's no ads over on the forums because ads really do get in your way of information. If you go to some of the other forums that are out there, you'll notice how much the ad network slows you down and is also, popping up and interrupting the feed. So our forums don't have any ads, and the access to information there is free. We want people to get the information they need to go out and explore safely, to be prepared for their adventure. And that's really what the community is all about, is to give you the information you need to do what you want to do, to have an adventure and be safe while you're doing it. So no barriers to information. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 7. 7. Be kind. 7 is be kind. We do not believe in freedom of speech on the internet. If there's hate involved, that's the thing. Right. So there is a difference between civil discord and disrespect, or singling out a class of people, or tearing an individual down to make yourself feel good. We don't stand for that, and we want people to be kind with one another. And I think you kind of get this as you get older, right? And you see some things in life. You realize that life gives us enough BS to deal with on a day-to-day basis. We all, we all have our struggles. We all have our problems. We don't need something from the outside, adding to that. So we believe in civil discord in our forums and in our community channels, and we moderate the forums quite a bit, just to make sure that dialogue is civil. And the easiest way to say this is Overland Bound is a family show, right? So if any member of the family sees behavior on overlandbound.com, on the forums, or in any of our official channels, that's what you can expect. Is you can expect any member of the family to be able to see that, and it's going to be okay. So that's our standard. Be kind to one another. Help each other out. This goes for being on the trail as well, but it sort of happens, I find, in person and on the trail. It happens more naturally in person. It just happens naturally. You see somebody on the trail, you automatically check to see if they're okay. I guess the stakes are higher, or it's more real, again, related to having a connection with nature, right? Things are more real, and people tend to be, kind and generous because I'm altruistic. I believe people ultimately they are kind, and you just are. But help each other out. Ask, make sure they have enough water. Make sure that they know where they're going, and inquire just to make sure that they're okay. So be kind with to one another. That's number 7. And number 8 for us tonight is to help each other and engage in the smallest of interactions. Another one that might seem a little bit bizarre, but here's the thing. We can only do so much at any one time, but human interaction is key, is important. And so focus when you're engaging with somebody, listen, be present, make sure you're not missing anything. It becomes a safety concern if you are trying to communicate about where to meet. Is that trail okay for this rig? So being focused and present with individuals that you're engaging with and having genuine interaction in person is really important to us. And it goes along with helping each other and being kind. And that's what our community is all about. It's about helping one another and giving somebody the information. We all started somewhere. We didn't all start knowing how to travel off-grid for weeks or months and outfitting a vehicle to do that. We all started somewhere. So when somebody doesn't have the knowledge and they need help, we help them. That's part of our community. All right. And number 10. Number 10. Number 10 is to have fun. It's a good barometer about whether things are going right. They're going okay. If people are having fun, that's what it's all about. We do stuff as a community. Not only are we very serious about things that are really important, like leaving it better than you found it, and being prepared, and offering training, and making sure you go slow and have genuine connections, and all the things that I mentioned, but you want to have fun while you're doing it. That's what it's all about. If you're not having fun and you're off grid, and it might be an indicator that things are going too fast, that perhaps we're not prepared to do what it is that we're doing. It can be an indicator of how things are proceeding. So if you're able to have fun while you're off grid, then it means you're probably prepared, and you're probably moving at a good pace, and things are okay. We want it to be positive for everybody. That way, people can feel confident in finding their adventure. So have fun is the last one, but that makes up all 10 of Overland Bound's founding principles. That's what this stands for, and they're available over on our website. And when people become an Overland Bound member, they read the core principles to make sure they're in alignment with our core principles, and they then feel comfortable being a member of the community. But that's what you can expect from Overland Bound members. Overland Bound members that are out there, remember, go over and review, take a look at it every once in a while. See if it still sounds good. It's a good thing to remember. As we grow, as the organization grows and continues to grow, it's going to be more and more important to review those founding principles. And here, I'll say this. When we created the core principles, we thought about it a lot. We discussed it with the community. We reviewed it, but we always knew it would be, flexible. But I will say that over the years, those core principles have really stood the test of time. So it's a good thing for us to review. All right. Hey, you guys, looking over there. Hey, Mason, how's it going? Hey, number 8, turn your volume up. I'm sorry if you're having a hard time hearing me. I see the levels, and I didn't want to blast you out. All right, you guys. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Please, if you have comments, write them in the comments and I will answer them later. Hope to see you guys on the trail. Until next time, outfit, explore, and we'll talk to you real soon. All right, you guys. Good night.